What's up, Vigo's Court? It is Judge Vader here. Court is in session. I'm joined by Counselor Q. Q, how you
What
doing?
it do, baby? I am fantastic. Every time I sit back and I watch that intro, I can't help but feel that that thing looks so spicy. It gets me ready for this regular season we've got coming up. But of course, before we get to that, we got to figure out where everyone's going to be calling their homes. So that's what we're here for today.
You know what? I think you're right. And I'm excited to see what people choose. I think it's really cool having us be able to, see, like a home and away thing with Dead by Daylight. Like, where like, oh yeah, I'm going to practice this map because I'm going to call it my home. I got to protect my house with my killers, and my survivors got to go ahead and get out, you know? But then you got to go to somebody else's house. I think that's super cool. Most other leagues that I see, it's more like there's a map of the week and everybody's got to play on that map, and that's cool too. But I like this a lot.
Yeah, or you're playing a certain killer on a certain map every time it's picked, stuff like that, where this offers things to be a little bit different. Like you said, when it's your home, maybe you find something special, something spicy, that secret formula to success, so to speak, for the actual map itself compared to other people. Especially, I think, when you talk about people who maybe go with more off-the-cuff picks, people who aren't going with Suffocation Pit, Azeroth Resting Place, Cold Tower, the ones that we're used to seeing in comp. If we can see when we see people coming in with some of the more unique picks, I think those are going to be where it's interesting to see, like, as they develop the strategy, like you said, like to defend your home turf, right?
Right. But I am going to say, I feel like you might be coming at me then if my team, if We Overslept picks one of those maps. I feel like you were coming at me. You want me to pick something unique. I don't know.
I do. I mean, I'm just saying, I like keeping things funky fresh, so.
I get it. I understand it. Well, why don't we go ahead and start this off right with the first pick going to DKD. And they already sent in what they want. They're not making an appearance today, but I already know what they're picking. They're picking Cold Tower. That's what we're starting with, guys. Cold Tower.
The cold
off the list.
shower. All right, getting it started off right. I promise I didn't read the future when I called that as one of the non unique picks. But I do gotta say, Cold Towers, it's nice, right? It's a nice, usually pretty, like, I try and stray away from calling it asymmetrical. I stray away from calling it symmetrical as far as the way the actual spawn is, because sometimes that mid-gen floats around, but usually you got 3 generators pretty well on the top side of the map, 3 pretty well on the bottom side of the map, and 1 somewhere in the middle. Sometimes you'll have like 2 on the shack side and then 2 like in the middle, but you still kind of have your 3 on the top side, then 4 throughout the rest of the map. So it's nice that at least kind of gives you that some consistency that you can depend on.
Yeah, definitely. I think Cold Tower is a nice one to bet on when you're picking it as your home map. But at the same point, you kind of do make your opponents comfortable because it is like one of the most balanced maps out there. So you're not going to have like a team like, oh, shit, got to play on Cold Tower this week. They're going to be like, right. Oh, yeah, Cold Tower. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we ran that in DVE. We did it when we practiced for this tournament, and we did it in Champions of the Fog a couple weeks back. Some of these teams are playing in multiple leagues and things. So, yeah, I think you definitely hit a pretty good point there.
Mm-hmm. And then, oh man, I don't know. I think you're right. The unique picks are going to make it really interesting, just because, like we're just talking about, the other teams, like definitely if I had to face off on, I know there's not going to be Hawkins or something, but like
right.
if somebody were to like theoretically pick Hawkins,
pick Larry's for a home team,
oh, I would be like me personally, I'd be like, oh God, I have to prepare for that. Ugh. Meanwhile, they've practiced it. They're good on it. Like that. Yeah. Definitely.
They're the one blight that can, manage around all of the different dips and turns and everything. And now you're just feeling, because you go into Larry's and, sometimes think at least when you're in pubs, you worry more about like the stealth killers, but obviously everyone's got to conserve their pool throughout the course of the season. So if you have a home map like Larry's, like, yeah, maybe you can pull out a Ghosty Boy and be fine 1 week, but that's like 1 week. What are you going to do, some of the rest of the time moving forward? I'm also going to be interested to see when we're looking at this list here, especially as we get down to like picks, like I think like Monarchy and down, I think is going to be where things really start getting spicy, maybe even around Deadheads, depending on like what maps go off the board between like now and 9.
Yeah, for sure. And let's go ahead and try to kick it to the second pick, I think. Who do we got? We got Daddy Issues. I'm gonna take off these sunglasses now. That was dramatic effect, y'all. That's all. I can't read with these things on.
Obviously a very useful prop.
But yeah, let's see if we have Daddy Issues available for their second pick.
What would well, I guess you probably don't want to give away too much information if people don't want to think that you're thinking about for your team, but I would really like, honestly, I feel like for me there are some maps, unfortunately for me, a map that I really like that some people would almost consider sometimes more like killer sided, depending on who you're bringing to the table, would be Dead Dog. But of course, looks like Dead Dog is broken again.
Did anybody else notice that Leary's is disabled?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I noticed all of them that were disabled because I did a YouTube video about it, but
Oh, okay. I see. I was at work all day today, so I just got home. So I just turned on Dead by Daylight and was like, let's go to Lee.
Yeah. No,
never mind.
No Larry's, no The Game, no Dead Dog, all the fun ones.
Dude, 100%. Like they're all like gone, right? Like,
and then they also announced at the same time today, they were talking about the what's the name of the add-on? The pig add-on that spawns you in with the traps on your head.
Disabled.
It is not disabled. They are just recommending that people don't run it. Apparently there is a bug that sometimes the hats don't activate on the first gen completion. So like you don't get the whole benefit of like it's supposed to be, so like you don't start the gens, you're like running around looking for your hat. But then that ends up not being the case. So.
Do they activate at all is my next question.
Oh, I don't know. See, I played a game where I spawned in with it on my head and it activated when our first one was done because my team did not wait for me to get my hat off till I got we complete. Apparently people don't know the 99 strategy, so it's a sad day.
It's okay because I'll let you know in pubs, I'm that survivor that it's like, oh, you have a hat on? Guess you better go play them games then because this shit getting done.
Better you than me, bro.
Yeah, 100%. That's me in pubs. All right, so it looks like Daddy Issues has made their pick with Ironworks being the pick there. How do you feel about that?
Ironworks of Misery. Dilly. I think Ironworks is one that gets it's pretty funny. I mean, it falls into that same McMillan realm. I feel like McMillan's very comfortable for a lot of people as far as for the comp scene. You get a lot of the same general tiles. You're not hitting like you've got a couple of decent filler like palettes sometimes in the middle on there, but of course on that there is yourself. You also have the actual Ironworks itself to work around, which can give yourself some fun. Like you make the killer make some decisions, right? They either have to take the time to break down some broken walls and set up, or deal with some really stressful and painful loops whenever you decide to abuse them. So.
Yeah, definitely wherever the basement spawns in that map too, like it can be pretty strong. If basement spawns in that main building, or actually, no, wait, hold on. That's something we got to talk about. Guys, there's no way basement's going to spawn in the main building. So for those that don't know, there was a rule that passed for Vigos this season where every survivor will be bringing a torn blueprint, which will guarantee that the basement will spawn in the killer shack every time. So
I think that's fair though, right?
yeah, for sure. I think that definitely, I know for me, it kind of affected my choice a little bit, because when I think about maps like Dead Dog, right? If the basement's on the backside of Saloon, I'm like, that's perfect right there. Basement spawns in that shack in the middle of the street, and I'm like, no, miss me with that. I want to be somewhere else. Don't put me here.
Yeah, especially because the last thing you want to see is when you're very, very early hooked going in that basement, and then you are just SOL, right?
Yes, 100%. Then the killer just plays Gallows, the Gallows 3 gen, the whole time, just like, I got this basement over here. I'm good. Especially like a Spirit. No, thank you. No.
I think Ironworks is also kind of interesting because, I mean, that middle building can be very, very strong, especially with the the elevated portion can be kind of a place that survivors will sometimes seek shelter to go for like healing and resetting and stuff, because they don't anticipate most killers taking the time to ascend the stairs or, get up into that control panel room there up top as well. So I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see, does any of the adaptive playstyle around that change at all? Because I feel like most time I see Ironworks and Misery, like you avoid the middle building like the plague. You kind of like let that. If there's a as far as the killer, if you don't have a basement in there, just because it's such a pain to work around that big loop.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. And so knowing that there is
it's going to
no
be in
basement
shack.
there, it's going to be in shack. I actually think that you'll see it get done a couple times in there, because I think, just like you're saying, survivors don't want to be there because it's a big old loop and stuff. What if that's in the killer's head? Oh, survivors aren't going to be there. I might kind of loosely
no. I'm saying
check
that killers don't want to go in there because like the survivors can waste so much time. So you might as well you might as well just not set up your 3 gen in that area. It's just like whenever they want to get that section done, they get it done.
I think it depends. If you bring like a stealth killer, like a pig or something on there, I think it's more killer side at that point, because if you don't know that the killer's coming, if your team isn't communicating with you accurately, you get caught out of position and you can't get to anything that would save you. There's no pallets or anything that spawn in there. So if you can get the surprise, like a good monitor and abuse play, it's that middle building's killer sided at that point. So I think it's pretty balanced, honestly.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Also, I like the whole concept of when you're looking at your schedule ahead of time. Hey, I know I've got Ironworks and Misery in 3 weeks. What killer do I want to make sure I have available when we go, play daddy issues? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it looks like we do have a third pick coming in from Wrecking Crew. Kind of upset, I'm not gonna lie. Like right before we overslept, they go ahead and pick this Groaning Storehouse.
I like Groaning Storehouse. Honestly, it's one that we see in DBE used a lot for like the nurse. That's kind of like Nurse's Home, Groaning Storehouse. I like the for people who aren't familiar, it's the one that has like, it's almost like an L shape, but a very like weird L.
I like
the 2 like bottlenecks on the outside. Then you have your middle area, and then you've got the big building that sometimes has a generator in it, but then also has like the lockers that are very fun for head-on plays if you meme like myself. Right next to the window that usually spawns there. So what's important for survivors generally when you get in there is because you'll have a generator by at least one of the Pride Rocks, if not both. If you can knock out 1 or 2 of those, plus the middle, like mid-building gen, then as corrupt intervention timer expires, because everybody uses corrupt intervention in competitive play, that's when those like outskirt gens end up becoming uncovered, because you generally get like a weird split corrupt on Groaning Storehouse because of those like outlier gens.
Yeah, and like I feel like Groaning is it's a really balanced map as well. The middle section near shack is definitely going to be a problem for survivors, both legs as well, those alleys you talked about, just because we know basement's going to be right there. And honestly, that's pretty strong for the killer, because like you said, a corrupt sometimes can block all 3 of those gens near the bottom. And And yeah, that could
if you get early hooks in that area, it can be it can be a lot of pressure on the survivor team early for sure.
I think even late hooks though. I mean, if you don't get those gens done in that section near the shack, could spell disaster for sure. What do you think about 3 McMillan maps going early though? Like I think
it doesn't surprise me. I kind of expected to see mostly McMillans go off early. Then you'll probably get 2 or 3 of your Azerovs, and then it kind of goes crazy from there, I think.
Yeah. I see. Definitely, I won't be making the pick for We Overslept. I'm going to have somebody else do that. But we'll watch and wait for it to pop up.
Was Groaning Storehouse one that you guys were looking at?
Definitely. Coal Tower, Groaning. We didn't have Ironworks really on the list, but Coal Tower and Groaning, we were both looking at.
Yeah, Ironworks looking at it was still a very, it's not that I don't like the pick. It's just a very strange pick at pick number 2.
Yeah, indeed. I agree. I'm going to definitely say, though, I know some of the players on Daddy Issues, and honestly, I was expecting Fractured Cowshed. But I'm okay seeing an Ironworks there.
Do you think that for the most part, once we get through McMillan and Azerovs, will Coldwind have to be depleted before we move past into any of the other realms?
You know, I don't think so. I think maybe we see one of the preschools go before all of the...
One of the Badams, really?
I think so. I think that you might see a survivor squad that's just like, we really like this. And
we're going to make sure that our survivor squad does better than your survivor squad when you come to our house, basically.
6.
Yeah.
But wait, did I say that too loud?
No, but I mean, that makes sense though, right? Like if you know that you're going to have some good squads coming through, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like a later pick, you know, you kind of can depend on the fact that you more than likely aren't going to have availability to go to McMillan, Coldwind, or Azerov. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me see. Oh, and it looks like actually we have Rudy ready. TX Nightwolf ready for a We Overslept to go ahead and tell us what map we're getting.
I don't want to. No, I'm playing. We're gonna go Suffocation Pit.
Ooh. Suffo. I like Suffo. So, was Suffo originally like the top pick heading in, or was one of those top 3 that got taken kind of one of your like first options, and Suffo just kind of happened to be your best option available at this point?
Old Tower was first, Suffo was second.
Okay.
Indeed.
And that kind of makes sense, right? Like I think Cold Tower was probably at the top of a lot of people's lists. I mean, we talked about very, very balanced. I like the randomness on Suffocation Pit, but does that worry you as the home team, knowing that sometimes, you know, maybe as the survivor team, you could get that very, very balanced portion of Suffocation Pit, and then you go to the other side for their survivor or for their killer, and all of a sudden you got like a 5 gen on that top side of the map?
Doesn't really worry me because I've done this map plenty of times, and it's the same thing over and over and over, pretty much.
Honestly, so. I'd also say, I mean, and Wolf, go ahead and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but our survivor group, I feel confident that they can go ahead and knock that 5 gen out. Definitely don't take any unnecessary hits and go ahead and pressure it out. And then on the killer side, I really like having that 5 gen give our killers more chance to hopefully pressure survivors out of being able to finish those gens. So I like it on both sides. It definitely was one of our favorite ones, right next to Cold Tower. But honestly, I like it better because the choke point.
I was surprised that it was available there at 4. I was kind of expecting Suffo to be 2 or 3, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's gonna work out for us though, because I think we can all just get it done. Just be patient on this map.
Cool. Well, we look forward to definitely seeing what you guys do once we actually head into the regular season itself. It does look like though we've got our pick in from entity as well. Not a big surprise, I don't think, especially seeing that we just saw Suffocation Pit Yin picked up there. We see Azerov's resting place, which is kind of like the equivalent to Suffocation Pit just on Azerov's, right?
Yeah, it's pretty darn close to it. I mean, ARP is a I guess people refer to it as what, dog bone? Like it looks kind of like a dog bone. Like you got an eye-shaped map. Honestly, I like that. I like that choice, especially right after all of the Macmillans are gone. Yeah, if you can pressure out that mid-gen, separate the 2-3 gens.
All of the Macmillans aren't gone. I mean, somebody's sure to pick Sheltered Woods for home team, right?
Sheltered Woods is a banned map because it doesn't have a main building.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Oh, right.
Sheltered Woods is out.
Well, darn. There you go.
So Macmillan maps are gone.
So they are gone. Okay. There I was trying to be smart, and there I am just looking.
Hey, I didn't say anything, Q. Just for the record,
That's
I
fine.
didn't say anything.
That's cool.
My eyes might have said something, but my mouth did nothing, all right? All right. But yeah, honestly, I do like having a ARP up there. And then do we have somebody from 4 Dwights ready to give us our next pick? Maybe. I thought I saw Psycho Mantis in the chat, so for sure I was waiting to see. Maybe we get a Psycho in here? Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, I think that... Do you have any guesses at what the next map to go is, Q?
So, I mean, at this point, we're looking at... Well, you've got Cold Shower, or the Cold Shower, Ironworks of Misery, Groaning Storehouse, Suffocation Pit, Azerov's.
I know what my pick would be, but maybe...
Well, so I guess then for the same reason we won't have Wreckers then, right? Since there's no main building?
I don't believe so.
So then, that's a good question. I don't know if I'd take Gas Heaven at 6. You would?
100%. That's what I'm picking. If it was my pick right now, I'm going Gas Heaven. I'm like, take me to heaven. Let's go. Ascend. I love that map, honestly. I like when you get that hill over next to the car pile over on the one side near the gas station. That would be perfect. I'm just imagining the best Gas Heaven spawn. Honestly, that map is pretty balanced as well. So I think in terms of putting your killers and survivors in a really good situation, I love it. I'm not trying to affect your decision for Dwights and Locker, but if it was me, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is, I mean, Blood Lodge is kind of nice too. It doesn't quite have the bottleneck that Azerov's has. It's kind of more open in the middle, but you still have a very symmetric map for the most part. It's not quite like a perfectly like rectangle because of the kind of the way it breaks down on the one side of the map, especially over by where I think it's where Fun Bus normally spawns.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's a nice map that gives you a lot of symmetry to be able to depend on like week after week for a for like a home map. Maybe even you could say the same thing for a like Rancid Abattoir or even a Fractured Cowshed too, for real.
I mean, for sure. Oh, yeah. Rancid actually would be a really good pick, honestly. Or a Fractured Cowshed.
Of course, I mean, both of those offer some like pretty kind of like we talked about with Ironworks and even like Groaning Storehouse, kind of like bigger middle buildings that Survivor team's gonna work around. But even like both of those, I mean, you can kind of work around them depending on what section of the map you decide to like essentially neglect for your like 5, 4, and 3 gen. You know, if you have an opportunity to set it up, obviously. we see a lot. You don't, against these survivor squads, you don't often have the opportunity to like select your 3-gen, but
Right. For sure. That's normally the killer's role, right?
well, right. But I'm saying against these survivor squads, though, like the killer doesn't have that option. They just you can kind of play into your own 3-gen, but sometimes you just gotta take you gotta take the quick chases when you can get them. You know what I mean? Even if it means surrendering a gen that you don't want to.
Right. Well, while we get Psychomantis in here and allow him to be able to speak, let's go ahead and review. I actually have some stats on the McMillan estate right here for you. So for Ironworks, I'm going to review that first. The area in square tiles is 160 tiles. It may not mean a lot to you guys, but as we're talking about perks, and you guys have heard about boon totems and stuff, right? And we talk about meters, right? How many meters does a perk work for? Well, the Ironworks has an area of 10,240 square meters. So your radius of 24 meters or a radius of 70 meters, this is a larger map. So for sure, really good choice for our survivor team to make sure they're not affected by a lot of those killer perks. And it does look like we weren't able to get Psychomantis's mic working while he was in here. So they went ahead and selected their pick. So I'll go ahead and review 2 more stats that are actually important for Ironworks, and that would be the minimum number of hooks and maximum number of hooks possible on this map. Minimum number of hooks possible is 7. Maximum number of hooks possible on this realm is 12. So, yeah, I know. Crazy, right? What a spread. What a spread.
There. I see what you did there. That was cute. The hook spread. I see what you did. You're clever.
I know, right? I try to be, guys. I try.
So I do got to say, Red Shop is interesting. That was the other one I was thinking of when you were talking about the Gas Heaven. Because Red Shop has like a nice little decent, obviously you have it's called Red Shop for a reason. You have the one area that's usually kind of more out towards one of the more sides that has the actual shop that has the car in it. More times than not has a gen in there, and then you usually have one kind of buried in one of your corners, and then either a TNL or a jungle gym on either side. You'll have one on one side or the other, usually not both. But I think a pretty decent pickup at that drafting slot as far as a ret shop there.
Yeah, and looking at the map stats for that as well, it is a little bit smaller than what I was just talking about for Ironworks actually no, it's larger. It's slightly larger than Ironworks, but it also, the minimum number of hooks is 8, so more hooks spawn on that map. So offsets it for sure. Maximum number of hooks possible on a spawn is 13, so definitely really good balanced choice still. And it looks like we do have Ultra in here to make our next pick for Demise. So Ultra, go ahead. You have the floor.
I believe it's Demise.
Demise. My bad. Demise.
Yeah, I'm not a part of them. You could drag Fry instead. We're 2 different teams. I'm Demise, he's Demise.
That was my mistake. Sorry.
Oof.
Sorry, everyone.
So we did have somebody here from Demise, but now it is Demise's chance. I'm sure, chat, you can see where we would have gotten the confusion here, but we're just going to go ahead and move things on here. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
What's up? So I pick a map?
Indeed.
Gas Heaven.
Oof. I like that choice. See, I was just talking about Gas Heaven, and there it goes. Gas Heaven is gone, everybody.
So when you kind of came in knowing that you were kind of going to be like mid pick in here, right? Pick number 7. Was Gas Heaven kind of on the radar, or what? I mean, you probably kind of expected to see Cold Tower, Azerovs, and Suffo Pit off the board by this point, I'm sure, right?
I mean, I can play Blight on it, so like, it's cool.
Nice. So thought was killer sided for sure. It sounds like, which is definitely where more of the points can be scored. So I like that.
See ya.
All right. See you, French fry. All right. And so I honestly I really like that pick. I know I had talked about Gas Heaven before the pick even came in, but that still has the same number of hooks as the last realm that we had possible. 8 hooks minimum, 13 hook maximum. So I'm super happy about that. Next, we have Corrupt ready to pick. And so we get to talk to Keeper. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, friend?
We're gonna go with Blood Lodge.
Ooh, another really good pick. What do you think about Blood Lodge, Q?
I like the pick there. I think that it is. I mean, we had kind of talked about it, right? It's one of those where it kind of lands. It's kind of where we were expecting as far as like. I mean, it's the one I had mentioned, right? Kind of more of a rectangular, not quite as far as the bottleneck that Azeroth has. Actually, it's more wide in the middle portion. But I would be curious, Keeper, coming in. It was Blood Lodge kind of one that you were thinking maybe might be available and was one that you were wanting to have with the pick, or is this just kind of it's the best option that we had at this point in the draft?
The best option we had. See, we had already laid out 8 maps, knowing that our draft was for the 8th slot.
Yeah.
And we've ran over these maps in the past, so we kind of we have a strat going into this for this.
Okay. I like it. Cool. So feeling confident.
Oh yeah, real confident.
Oh yeah.
I love the game plan, the strategy that goes into this, right? Like what Keeper's talking about that was similar to the same thing we did. We knew we were 4th pick, so we had like 4 maps already chosen. We're like, all right, we expect this to go, and we'll pick this. But if these 3 don't go, we're picking one of these 3. So similar thing, and I think that's what you'll see from all the teams. They all already have their list. They're like, okay, all right, that one's gone. Cross it off. All right, that one, all right. That's the next one.
Tough job for the Wolfpack then down there at 16, having to go with 16 maps deep. My goodness gracious.
I think at that point, like, right, like you're just you got a bunch of names in a
waiting,
hat, and you're just
right?
like,
yeah.
What's left?
Yeah,
that's the one.
At that point, you just kind of cut your realm list in half, and you just prioritize the bottom half in ascending order, right?
Right.
You just kind of see what's left.
Exactly. All right, but thank you, Keeper, for bringing in that pick.
All right, take care, guys.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
We look forward to the season.
All right, and up next we have Techno Badger joining us from Immortal Alliance. And Techno Badger, go ahead and give us your pick here. I am.
We are gonna go with Grim Pantry.
Grim
Pantry.
Ooh,
that is spicy. I like it. Okay, so I'm sure you probably don't want to give away too much of the game plan, but I'm curious, was your thought going with something that's kind of outside of the norm, that way you can kind of consistently have
like for sure we want the upper hand in a home map
on the home map every time? Okay, that makes sense, because I mean obviously we still have a couple of Cold Wind and Azeroth maps available at this point, so so in that case, was there something about Grim Pantry over Pale Rose that made you opt for that one over the other as far as for the swamp maps?
Well, if you go Pale Rose, then you have to deal with the plethora of windows on Big Boat,
right?
And not every killer is as well equipped to do that.
That makes sense, actually. That makes a lot of sense. I like that pick, actually. That feels like very, very well thought out, and I'm actually going to be really excited to see the strategies that you guys bring out as you protect the swamplands against whoever it is that tries to come in. I'm excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Tech, I have a question for you though. How worried are you about piggies trying to come in with them head traps in the swamp?
I'm a pig main, so
So you're not worried. You're celebrating it. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's purely coincidental. But yeah.
I love it.
I mean, Tamper got nerfed anyway, so
Yeah, it did. It was really sad.
sad days.
Mm-hmm. I'm sad with you, so just know I feel for you, buddy. I feel for you.
I know. I'll cry myself to sleep.
Well, Techno, we appreciate you coming in, giving us your pick there. Again, I'm going to be really excited to see. I'm sure that their strategy will probably stay pretty consistent on the Survivor side, but I feel like the more that you play it on the competitive level, right, against people who have had like some time to practice and come in with a game plan versus like playing people in pubs, I feel like come like week, like 8, 9-ish, like that's when you got like feel really, really good about protecting your home court.
Yeah, I agree. Like early on, I think you'll see teams kind of like try to really get their bearings on it. But I agree, like middle of the season, I think you'll see teams really latch on to their home map, and they'll be really tough to play against on their own map because they'll really know. I mean, the benefit of having a home map, you can keep practicing it over and over and over and over. And then the probability of where all the maps are going to spawn. You start learning, okay, on this map, if I spawn here by myself, where are my other survivors? Like without them even telling you, things like that you wouldn't get unless you played a map over and over and over. So that's awesome. And it does look like we have Gothergy here. Hey, your boy Q, you muted yourself. I saw your mouth moving, but you muted yourself.
No, you're good. You're good. I was actually, I appreciate it. I was moving my mic stand, but I was gonna say, like, I'm just kind of to add on to the point you're talking about how like as it goes on, you kind of build on that, like you get more confident at home, and so I think on a Grim Pantry home, you got to be feeling even more comfortable come those later rounds.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And we do have Gothergy here to go ahead and make the pick for Deadhead. So Gothergy, let us know. Where are we going? Oh. We are going to the sound of silence.
Stage fright. No. We still do have some Coldwind maps on the table, so wouldn't be surprised to see something there. I'm excited to see. Might be just trying to figure out a mic issue here.
Trying to figure out, yeah, definitely. Possibly. Gothergy, can you speak now? I went ahead and I tried something maybe to get your mic to work here. Doesn't sound like yet. Nope, it doesn't sound like we have a Gothergy right here. I wish I could hear Gothergy right now. Wait.
Oh.
Are we in? There we are. We're in.
Yes.
There we go.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, I had to close the stream. All right. We're going to the Thompson house.
Thompson
House.
All right.
I like
Interesting map pick. What's with again, kind of like we talked about the Moral Alliance. If you don't want to give the farm away, no pun intended. What is like what's your thought process as far as going with Thompson House at pick 10?
Well, I can't say we had our map stolen. Thompson House was kind of the go-to. Either that, or I was gonna go Almond. But I know someone else that wants Almond, so I figure it'd be nice, you know.
Being nice in the draft. Ooh,
Wow.
hopefully that doesn't come back to bite you later on this season, huh?
We don't talk about it.
I love it.
Hey, you don't want to speak it into existence, right?
Exactly. This never happened.
No. I don't know what you're talking about, in fact.
I do
nice
like
map.
I do like Thompson House. One thing I think it gives. I think the one thing that can be a little problematic is sometimes that middle area can become a dead zone very, very fast.
Yep.
But I think because of that, it allows some killers that struggle with map control. It can give you some chances to use them on a home field. So I kind of like that idea.
Definitely, absolutely. And there's usually anywhere from a 4 to a damn, if you're lucky, 6-gen bottom, like the main building side. So that will be pretty good to work with. It definitely allows every killer to kind of have a chance to play.
Right. That was kind of my thought. Was it? You can kind of, at least on some maps where they aren't very viable, at least on Thompson House, you got, I wouldn't say like a fighting chance, but you can at least get yourself some good hook states and give yourself a chance to get, an elim or two at the end every time. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, really strong map on both sides. That center area kind of maybe being a dead zone for the survivors, not wanting to get caught in the corn, but at the same time, maybe the killer loses you. I think the verdict is still out on whether or not Shadow Step will be allowed, and if it is, I mean, maybe the corn is even more difficult.
I mean, at least for the competitors, we sometimes get that, that nice little corn bug, and we can
bug.
see everything. So
I love being able to see everything, although unsettling sometimes.
yeah.
Guys, we do have Pingu in here next to go ahead and give us our next pick.
Yes. We will be going with Midwich.
Midwich,
taking people to school at home. I like to see it.
Exactly.
So, all right. I gotta ask the question. I've asked the last two again. Definitely don't feel like you have to give away the farm, but like, what's the thought of going with Midwich as the home?
No one knows how to play it, so let's take advantage of that.
You know what? That's fair. I like that. I know a lot of people who really despise Midwich, so if you can take that and turn that into a positive for your team, you know what? I think that's smart, Vader.
I like it. But I gotta say, you said no one knows how to play on Midwich. I disagree. Q, if you remember, I met you on Midwich, didn't I?
True. You got your guys' squad had a nice little.
I remember y'all.
Hey, Midwich is not an option. Midwich is not an option.
Oh, Midwich is not an option. Pingu, I'm gonna need another choice from you.
Oh.
We can't do Midwich. Midwich is banned.
Oh, because there's no main building, right? Because you can't have it. You have to be able to do the hatch and shack.
I didn't think of that. Look at me.
Okay, wait, give me like 20 seconds to think on the
Yeah,
map.
you're fine.
Do.
All right. It's not like you have a bunch of teams waiting. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness.
That is a shame though, because I would have had a lot of fun. I think Midwich could have had some fun. I understand though with wanting to be able to have some consistency of where the basement is and kind of keep that consistent. So,
Okay, I think I know what we're going with.
Oh,
we will be going with Torment Creek.
Torment Creek, huh? Interesting pick here. I like it though. Of course, it's got like the little Zeppelin-esque type thing in the middle. Decent. It's not like a huge middle building to work around, like some of the, like say a Rancid or an Abattoir. So, I like it. I feel like it doesn't have the most jungle gym. What's the thought process there?
Do well on Killer. You don't have to do too well on Survivor.
Okay, that's fair. Feeling more confident, feeling like the killer can set the precedence at home more consistently.
Maybe.
I like it.
I definitely agree with it as well. I like the pick for sure. That main building, sometimes that window right there gives you a really good loop. Even if the killer does break the door, you have a good loop for a while, and depending on pallet spawns near there, you can keep chase around there for a while. So I agree.
True.
That's a really good map, not only for your killers, because it is a strong killer sided map, but it's still pretty good for your survivors if you know how to run it.
Yeah, plus two, I think also where you're talking about outside that main building, especially at that window where it leads the top side of the map there, where sometimes around those hay bales, depending on which pallet spawns you get. Not on the hay bales attached to the building, but the ones more towards the corner. You can have some pretty gnarly loops out there before having to drop the pallet itself too. So, yeah, I'm going to be interested to kind of see how some of those strategies actually work out here for. But I believe we have somebody here for Monarchy to give us a pick. Is that right?
It does look like, I believe I see an all for Domo. How are you doing, Domo?
I'm doing all right. How is your night going?
Going well. Enjoying it.
Yeah? All right. Well, we're going to pick Father's Campbell's Chapel.
Ooh, Father Campbell's.
Yes.
I like it. You know what? Honestly, I feel like it has some decent tiles on it. Feel like you give yourself a lot of options for some different tile spawns, whether they be jungles or those TNLs along the usually more so on the shack side of the main building versus the circus side. But kind of curious from you, what's the thoughts with Father Campbell's there? Is it more of because of the confidence in your survivors, or is it because you like the options that it gives you as a killer?
I like the options it gives us as kind of survivor. The way that's a pretty survivor kind of side of map. You can get a good spawn with basement in the middle, and you can camp it out with killer too. Honestly, we're gonna pick some of the maps that were up above that were already chosen, so that was just like the next one on the list.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, that does make sense, right? When you're picking, we kind of talked about it earlier. When you're picking 12, 13, 14, this is kind of where the map selection busts open. So we'll be excited to see the shenanigans you guys get into in the circus.
I mean, we'll try not to be clowns, but we'll do our.
I mean, you could bring a clown. I'm not against it. But honestly, the map is one of the smaller maps out there, which I think does give you guys a pretty good advantage on both sides. On Survivor, it being a smaller map, there's less running you have to do to get to another gen to try to really put some map pressure down on a killer. But on the reverse side, your killers can really try to pressure more of the gens, depending on how strong they are at having map pressure. So I like that pick a lot, especially even being kind of later on in the draft here. I think you guys have done very well with your pick.
I agree. At least it's not a bad hand, bro.
True.
That would just make killers suffer. That'd be like a 1 or 2 hook game, dude.
I'm still gonna stand by. I think that 6 does it. I did, because I think 6 is gonna do it. 6 is gonna be like, you know what? Why not? That way, anytime we play a strong killer, you're gonna be so upset that you have to be here with us.
Do you know what I'm gonna be excited for though? Is I feel like when you pull a map like Father Campbell's, you're probably gotta be anticipating you're gonna be seeing a lot of M1 killers on your home floor, right? Like not just from you, but from like teams coming in.
I am completely fine if you send all your M1 killers at us. I mean, do that. I encourage it.
Right.
If you want to kill yourself, then do it.
I'd say with that small area, I would expect to see a lot of doctors if I were you guys. Like just the ability to drive madness with that small area.
True. I didn't even think about that.
Super easy. Just put a little distressing on there, a little bit of monitor and abuse, get that little bit of shock.
Oh, it could be fun. I've gone against a few doctors on the map. It can go either way depending on how the team does. So I think we're going to be confident with how we do. We'll see how it plays out, though.
And so with Father Campbell's Chapel, you'll probably be bringing out Ghosty Boy on the home floor at least once, right?
Ghosty Boy, I do love Ghostface.
Hey.
Look, I'm not asking you to get the farm away. I'm just saying, if you want to, I'm here for it. Okay.
I just
depends how far ahead we are, I guess. Then we'll give you a treat.
I just have one request if you do it though, Domo. Please devour soap somebody and give me that good Ghostface Mori. I just gotta see it, okay?
All right, bro.
All right. Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too. All right, guys. Up next, we have Pyru from Sacred Devotion, ready to give us their pick for the map.
Like, it's not my favorite, but like I'm forced to do it at this point. We're gonna choose Temple of Purgation.
Ooh, gonna be purgating all over that temple. I love it. That is a tough one though. I can definitely see where you're coming from, saying that it was a tough decision to come to. Interesting though, and kind of want to pick your brain. What's your thought process on picking it at this point?
We had a decent tourney on it last week, and I found out that out of like 20 teams that asked for the map, there was only like one team that had the map. So like not a lot of teams even know the calls. So I just think that it will be like one of those maps other teams are not prepared for.
Interesting. I think that's a good point though. I like that strategy.
Yeah, like I think it's gonna be the pick for us, honestly. Like out of what's left, obviously it wasn't my first pick, but out of what's left, it's okay.
It was probably around what you were kind of expecting to go with at 13 though, right?
Yeah, like I have like 13 out for this, so.
Yeah.
And guys, you'll definitely learn this about me, but I am a nerd for all of the map stats right now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this is more of our medium-sized map, but it's still on the smaller end. So definitely can be kinda survivor-sided here, but there's a lot of hooks for the small area that it is, with the minimum number of hooks 8 spawning in, maximum number of hooks 13 spawning in. So still pretty strong for the killer as well. So as Pyru said, kind of a tougher map, but going ahead, picking it. A lot of teams don't know it. I think you guys can capitalize a lot off of that pick, so I like it.
Absolutely, I hope so. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. Like with not only what Pyru said, but you said it too, right? Like so, it's one that people aren't very much used to. So now you're putting it up to your survivors to basically like. It's not obviously just your survivors outperforming their survivors, because your killer still has to come up and like do better than their killer did. But it should be easier for your survivors to outpace them by it being, more comfortable for them compared to, people who are just used to playing Macmillan, Azarov, and Coldwind for comp maps,
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with the hooks being closer together with the smaller surface area, but still a minimum hook number of 8, your killer's not going to have to do a lot of walking with the survivor on their shoulder. So if you know that, then even more reason that map could spell success for Sacred Devotion.
The one thing that's tough about Temple Purgation, I will say, is there aren't very many places for like actual tiles to spawn as far as like jungle gyms, TNLs and stuff. So sometimes you're really at the like mercy of RNGesus. Sometimes you have 2 4 lanes and 2 TNLs. You don't have jungle gyms to work with at all. You know what I mean? So granted, obviously, anybody who's played Temple of Purgation knows that they're also known for having some of those longer, like middle tiles that have like borderline god palettes. So obviously, that's like the flip side of it. And the only reason I say borderline is because it's a very, very big loop that you have to really catch a survivor slipping in order to get a hit at them. You know what I mean? Or waste like 45 seconds. Your call. I don't know if I want to do that against any of these teams.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say Temple of Purgation, that is a Huntress and Deathslinger's playground, man. A bunch of low obstacles in the center there. Like I think we'll see Sacred Devotion go against a lot of ranged killers like that can take really good advantage of it. Like even a Trickster. I mean, the whole time you're trying to loop around there, I'm throwing over the top of that and really
I think that's a good
you.
point as far as Trickster, though. Honestly, that might be a map where we do see like a Trickster who doesn't, obviously everyone's going to have to play at some point. They have to figure out where to use them. Temple of Purgation might not be a bad place to bring Trickster out because you're already going to be probably working on minimal hook count anyways when it comes to both survivor sides, probably being able to get at least 3 out most games. You know what I mean? You're probably going, if you're getting 4, if you're getting 2 out, it's probably like 6 hook states and that's it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'd have to agree. And we do actually have Ultra here this time for it. Demise, not Demise.
Okay.
Yeah. This time we got it right. All right. Ultra, how you doing? We are ready for you to go ahead and make your pick, my friend.
I'm doing good, thank you. With what's left, our map will have to be Rancid Abattoir.
Rancid Abattoir, I like it. I was kind of expecting. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised it's going this late. Were you expecting to see Rancid available at this point, or?
Definitely not. I have like the list of available maps, and I have like 5 maps circled in blue, and I'm surprised Rancid is even still standing.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier. I kind of thought Rancid was one that was gonna go, maybe like 7 to 12 ish, somewhere in that range. Kind of surprising to see it go this high here. So I'm sure you've gotta be walking away feeling like you've kind of won the lottery. Not won the lottery in a sense, but definitely feel like you've kind of walked away with a better pick than you were expecting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I would have to agree. There are multiple maps like that actually right now that are still on the board that I'm still looking at and going, I am super surprised I haven't seen them picked. So for sure, I think you got a steal on here with Rancid as a pick. So congratulations on that. And were you more looking at killer side or survivor side when you were looking to pick that map?
I was focusing more towards the killer side. I was looking for a map that would have to be a nice middle ground for like S tiers and M1s, considering the amount of times we're gonna have to be rationing killers.
All
right. I think that's a good point, and I think that's going to be nice for your guys' survivor team too, right? Like it's not going to be kind of like we were talking about in Temple Purgation, where they're probably going to catch themselves running into like a lot of Huntress, Plague, Trickster sort of deal on that map. You guys are probably going to see yourselves a nice wide range, which I'm sure on the competitive side, yeah, would you like to have some consistency so you can game plan? Yes, but I'm sure it also it's nice to be able to keep things fresh on the home court, right?
I would say so.
Sorry, I said that.
No, you're good. You're good. I think I would definitely say so. I also love the pick because it is, again, one of our smaller maps, but it only spawns 6 hooks minimum for those killers, 11 hooks maximum for those killers. So there's less hooks, less surface area, but that also means less running for our survivors, as we were talking about earlier. A lot easier to pressure those gens with them being closer together, but I would definitely say also more reason not to 3-gen yourselves, as those gens are a lot closer together. So definitely could get some good pressure from both sides.
Well,
yeah, for sure,
go ahead. No, you go.
Like considering like the typical Rancid RNG, if you play it right, you shouldn't be giving the killer that many downs anyways.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be putting a little bit more stress onto your guys' killer. But I think, because you guys are playing it more consistently, I think that's going to give your guys' killer the tools to be able to be more consistent or more successful more consistently. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how that works out towards the regular season. We appreciate you, Ultra, for jumping in here and giving us that pick.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, and good luck to all the teams that are playing.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Look at the early show of sportsmanship. I love seeing it in the league, right?
Yeah, obviously it's always fun to have people come in with the competitive spirit, because it usually means it's going to be the better product. But most importantly, being a good person is obviously trumps everything else. So you always love watching the good sportsmanship early, like you said.
Indeed. And guys, from our runner-up in the qualifier tourney 6, we have Washed here to go ahead and give us their map choice. What are you picking?
Which preschool are you guys taking for your home?
Yeah, definitely a preschool, right?
Because Vader already said that's what you guys are taking, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take preschool 6.
There's only 5.
Yeah, that was the joke.
Oh yeah, I got you. I do.
Oh, we're picking Dead Dog.
Dead Dog.
Yeah, it's gonna be disabled like 90% of the time, but
you just wanted to be able to use backups, right?
That's exactly it, because the current pool of maps is questionable.
I think that's fair, though. Yeah, I mean, you kind of open up your range there, so I think that's a fair pooling there. I think also too, obviously, when it is available, Dead Dog probably kind of gives you some confidence on your killer side, yeah?
Yeah. That dog, like, against M1s, it's pretty survivor-sided, but I think our survivors are really good at coordinating against M1s. They're, like, really exploitable on that map. And then, obviously, Nurse is really good with the 3-gen verticality. Spirit and Blight as well, so I think it'll be really good for us.
Definitely, I would agree. And as you brought up, like the 3 S tiers there with them being strong on Dead Dog, do you expect to see a lot of teams gunning for you? You being the runner-up to the qualifier tournament?
I'm not sure. I think we'll definitely see a lot of Nurse on Dead Dog, but I think we can handle it. I don't know what we're gonna bring to the map. We'll have to just see how the season plays out.
I like it.
I love it. It's like confidence. It's just like very cool, calm, collect. Like it just nonchalant. It is what it is. We'll show up and do what we gotta do. You love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And I gotta say, everybody we've talked to so far on 6 and Arctic Wolves kind of have been that way, right? Like they're like, yeah, we're just gonna do what we gotta do, like, and we'll take it as it comes to us. Definitely love to see it. Like, definitely got the whole act like you've been there before vibe to it. So thank you, Wash, for coming in and giving us that pick. And I believe we're gonna get Solar Blazer in here from Arctic Wolves to go ahead and round this whole thing out from our champions of the qualifiers.
Okay, so they're picking a Batum preschool, right?
Batum Preschool 5, right? Or the 6 one too?
Sadly, no.
Oh, okay. Understandable. Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce the map, but Sanctum? It's the Oni map?
The Sanctum of Wrath?
Yes.
Oh, man. We see a Yamaoka map go. I like
You know
that.
what, though? Honestly, I like it. I like it. Especially with Sanctum. You know, Sanctum's the one with the elevated middle gen, the one that's a very pro-dominant, very middle kind of important gen. Obviously, right now with the family crest being disabled, you know, we'll kind of have a little kind of like, you know, the issue with the Dead Dog there early, but you know, we're looking at first patch. I think that one is also supposed to be fixed. So, was Sanctum of Wrath kind of on your radar of what you were hoping to maybe be available at pick
It was our
16?
top 3.
It was your top 3?
Yeah. It allows for a lot of different play styles, and the RNG is very fair, except the Shack switch, which can cause teams to get their callouts mixed up, which gives us the advantage. It's fair for all killers, has lots of loops, and we can get used to it and practice it more compared to other teams.
I like that. And I think you brought up a very good point, especially with it being very fair for, I mean, all killers, even though you kind of have to go a little elevated for obviously the middle gen. It's not like you're like going around a building like on Dead Dog or on Groaning Storehouse where you're going up to the top or anything like that. So I think you bring up a very good point. Are you so on the home court we're gonna see Ghosty Boy at some point, right?
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Or
Anything is possible.
Maybe a Victor pounce from the top ropes, you know, just flying elbow, you know?
You know, maybe. Who knows?
Dude, if I see a Victor pounce from the top and hit somebody on the bottom, I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna flip my whole desk, all right? I'm gonna have to buy a new PC because y'all made me flip my desk, all right?
Now we gotta make it happen now.
Oh,
now it's
Lord.
gotta happen.
Oh, Lord. I'm not prepared, man.
So when you talked about Sanctum of Wrath and you were talking about how you like the balance of how you can kind of use everyone, was that kind of more for the comfort on the killer side, or was that kind of more of a, because of the balance on it, you feel very more confident on how your survivors are going to be able to handle it?
I think it goes both ways. It's fair for all killers, and then it's good for killer and survivor because there's like different loops, and if there's different loops, if you practice it as killer, it's gonna be good for you because the loops are gonna be different compared to like if other teams they're not gonna have that practice, so they're not gonna know what loops are gonna be opened or not. It's gonna be RNG based.
I like it.
It's very fair.
I like the pick. I like it a lot. That's a very nice one to go ahead and round it out. for our map draft today. That is awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing what you and the Arctic Wolves, along with honestly the other 15 teams as well. I know I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I've had a blast watching all of the competition thus far in the qualifiers, and look forward to really getting into the season. So
I'm very excited.
I would have to agree with you, Q. Definitely the way that all of the teams ended up kind of matching up with similar skill levels. It seemed like in each matchup, like everything was kind of close. I was definitely super happy to see that. So I'm excited to get into the season. All right, guys. Oh, go ahead, Q.
I was just gonna say, so that wraps us up as far as our 16. Is there any map, looking at it, that you are surprised didn't get picked?
Fractured Cowshed. That had been on my list the entire time, and I was really, really surprised we never saw anyone take it.
Yeah, I was. That was honestly probably the biggest one for me. Looking as far as at the list there, again, we had kind of talked about Rancid Abattoir. Also, no, I mean, I guess we never mind. I was going to say Rotten Fields, but we probably couldn't do Rotten Fields with the same thing because no main building,
no Ormond.
But no Ormond, though we did hear somebody was talking about bringing the Ormond, which was interesting. Also, kind of interesting that I feel like if with the Temple of Purgation pick, I wanted to visit that real quick. Even though I know Mother's Dwelling is technically a little bigger than Temple of Purgation, I feel like the middle gen's much tougher to defend, and I don't know if maybe that was part of the strategy, was they can kind of feel a good way of figuring out how to break the middle gen, that temple gen that can be kind of very powerful for most killers in that map, as well as the kind of middle area right above there. But I kind of feel like I would have probably gone with, if I had to go with the Red Forest, I probably would have gone the opposite way there, wouldn't you?
No, I would have taken Temple for sure. I think the reason being the basement of there, the basement of Temple, breaking that gen, while it can be seen as difficult, if you pressure it early and the killer keeps going there, you can decide to go ahead and drop that gen, not necessarily pressure it as much, but the killer may still decide to go ahead and check it. And if the killer's going down into that basement and then has to take the time to come upstairs multiple times, you're able to pressure out more of those gens, especially if no one's on that and you have 4 survivors. I mean, go ahead and let the killer waste that time.
I guess that makes sense, and the more that you kind of bring that up there. Is there any map that you was surprised went so late?
For sure, Rancid. I thought it was crazy to see that go as late as it did, and then Gas Heaven as well. Like, I expected it to go earlier than pick 7. Honestly, I didn't think that we were going to be able to see it. I thought it was going to go Coal Tower, Gas Heaven, and then Groaning. So Ironworks going as early as it did also kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, and then Red Shop, I guess, as well, with it being a little up above there too. Were kind of two that, because you basically would have considered it an easy top 5 pick then.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but guys, I think that's all from us. That was an amazing map draft. We now know what to expect from our teams. Our teams can go ahead and start getting ready for the season, and it's going to be exciting. Preseason starts next week, or is it this weekend?
I think it's next Wednesday, right? We're looking at
the 27th.
Okay, so yes, it's a week from today. A week from today. 1 week to preseason week 1. Gotta love to see it.
And that's, winding in, getting ready for Halloween, and then November's here. The regular season kicks off, and you know what? I am super excited to see. I feel like every week's going to be some banger matchups.
I agree.
I don't know if we're gonna have any. I don't think this. Even when we have top seeds versus like quote unquote bottom seeds, from watching the tournament, I don't think that separation is very big, which is good. I feel like it's just gonna lead to a lot of healthy competition. So I like seeing the mixed matches. I'm gonna be interested to hopefully Dead Dog and Sanctum get back up sooner than later, because I would like to see those in, especially. Well, personally, I'm a huge fan of the Deadest of Dogs. Personally.
Me too.
But Sanctum also, I would like to see those into rotation quite a bit. I will like to see Monarchy at home on Father's Campbell, just because I think you're gonna start seeing some interesting strategies come out like week 6, 7-ish, maybe even sooner. So I can't wait.
Me neither. And for sure, guys, if you didn't see it before when we ran the intro earlier, stick around. You're gonna want to see it this time. And we will be raiding out, so definitely stick around for a raid as well. If you aren't already subscribed, might want to do it. We got some of the best emotes on Twitch, so go ahead and do it. Also, guys, we are looking for mods. If you want to mod for the channel, please fill out the application in the Discord. But on that note, that's going to be all for us. And Intimidator, you are correct. It is about to be intro for the outro. Let's go. Enjoy, everybody. Until next time, board is adjourned. Peace.